Okay, we're walking in Camp Toccoa here right now. This is where the soldiers would muster out for formation down this road. They put this C-47 in here recently. I see they built some barracks out of the old wood. Because they tore them all down, but they did save the wood. I see they also are building a new one out of new wood. This is an old guard house, and this is built out of original wood. I think this guy up here is wanting to leave. I'm running late. I would like to go into these barracks that they replicated like they were back in the day. Like I said, where I'm walking now is where the soldiers would line up. And over here where all these pine trees are where the barracks used to be. Used to be tents at first. Wow, they're getting a lot done. See another foundation too. Yeah. Up here at the end past that guy, there's a gate, and that's where the soldiers would go and hit Currahee and run up for 3 miles up and 3 miles down. And this last building, the white building's the museum.
This is Camp Toccoa in 1948. It was being returned from the War Department to the state of Georgia. It was originally 278 acres leased from the Agriculture Department, which was Forest Service, to the Georgia National Guard. In the late 30s, early 40s, the WPA built 11 buildings. This is the one we're in, for the Guard, called Camp Tombs. After Pearl Harbor, the War Department took over the lease, made a paratrooper training camp that was later renamed Camp Toccoa. And when they returned it, it had 176 buildings. The trainees were housed directly across from our building. The latrines were here, mess halls, administrative buildings including the headquarters elliptical, parade ground, rifle range. Across the street was the service area, motor pool, post office, theater, bowling alley and gym, fire department, family housing, obstacle course, chapel, stockade, pump house. Several buildings like that were near the back. When the trainees were here, they mustered on this road, came up, turned right, left, back right again. That's where the 3 miles up, 3 miles down came from. The training took place where you see the trampled down dirt. This is a picture of the obstacle course. And when the trainees were here, they consumed milk every day, and glass bay was delivered in glass bottles in a wooden box, and when the bottles were emptied, they were put back in the box. That's a 1934 penny that was found in the road right out front. And this is the caduceus from the infirmary, a water valve cover that was across the street in the manhole. This is a newspaper from December '44 that was found rolled up in one of the panels when we redid the panels for the 506 barracks. It's Pittsburgh Gazette paper. It has an article for the sale of war bonds and several articles about the war going on. We don't know whether it was a POW or a Guard newspaper, because this would have been a POW camp at that time. Oh. This is a site map from the camp. We currently have about 7 acres. It's called Camp Toccoa Currahee. This is the building we're in. Next door is the pavilion. 4 barracks are here. The 506 and the 517th are completed. They're available for rent. We're working on the 501st now. The C-47 is here. It's an ongoing project that we have a special team working on. This is about 3.5 acres. It'll give us total ownership of the original route that the paratroopers took. That's what we'll do next. This is about 17 acres. That'll give us the original footprint of the camp. We want to put an amphitheater back here as our water collection area. The barracks were here. We want to put a obstacle course and a helicopter pad here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the 506 barracks when it was being built. It's 22 panels from the camp. Windows are original glass and wood. You can see the panels here.
Yeah.
This is a stop sign. When we put in the handicap ramp into the pavilion, the stop sign was found. It was covering the drainage pipe. It was made in '39. It says Georgia in law. State of Georgia had adopted putting Georgia in law on the stop signs because people ignored them.
Uh-huh.
This is a marker at the top of the mountain. It's encased in this piece of concrete.
I never knew where that was. It's still up there, the other one?
Yeah, if you go up to the white, there's a white building. If you turn left, there's a set of wooden steps. If you go to the top of the steps, about 15 paces is that marker.
Wow.
It's right near the chain link fence.
Okay.
Where the propane tank is.
Okay.
That's Chase Patton's Jeep. He's a reenactor. It's George Patton's great-great-grandson.
Oh, wow.
This was a POW camp at the, after it quit being a training camp. At the end of the war, all but 2 states, Nevada and Vermont, had POW camps. Georgia had 36 and 6 hospitals. The POWs were prohibited from working in industry, so they worked in agriculture and forestry. Over 1,000 were working in South Georgia and Alabama in the harvest of peanuts, Central Florida citrus, up and down the tobacco belt.
Okay.
Texas and Louisiana, cotton, up and down the rivers were trees. Wherever there were trees, there were sawmills. Mostly the POWs were German.
Okay.
This is in Fayetteville, North Carolina. There's a museum, special forces, paratroopers. Outside the museum is the original Iron Mike. It's a 16-foot 4-inch statue, weighs about 3,000 pounds. It became deteriorated, was refurbished, and when this museum opened, has its own Currahee Mountain rocks to honor Colonel Sink, who designed the original Iron Mike.
Okay.
This is the C-47. There were 10,000 made for the war effort. This is the one we have, was made in '43, came out of military service in '48. That's the color scheme we're going to paint it in, which is the same color scheme that was used for the D-Day invasion. We're going to number it 66 as a tribute to Mahan, who was commander of the Easy Company of the 506.
Is this the plane that's out here?
Yeah.
The same one?
Yeah.
Really?
This is the mock living area. It's made from 4 panels from the camp. Has shiplap on the outside, fiberboard in the inside, which is painted green at the top and gray at the bottom.
Yeah.
3 holes were drilled in it. They was put together, bolted together, and it's prefab housing.
Yeah.
They were shipped in from all over the country. These are World War II bunks. They came from Camp Toccoa. A local family had a lake place and had gotten one of the bunks, and the grandson took the bunk and donated it to us a couple of years ago.
That's awesome to have.
That's a Popeye Wynn's foot locker.
Oh, yeah. And I used to have a foot locker just like this. Maybe you did too. I don't know.
Hey, this particular uniform was worn in the movie Saving Private Ryan.
Wow. Very good.
That's a backpack board. The most common use was field radios, but it also could carry artillery shells. Those were World War II boots and leggings up the top. We keep them up there because we don't want people having them.
Yeah.
This is the door from the camp. The only metal on the doors, the hardware. It was designed in 1903. It's hand-fitted wood. Piece of molding was put over this when the panels were bolted together. It's the same molding that on the gift shop that you'll see. This is the Lynn lines displayed. Lynn was in the 2nd Battalion of the 506. He made the march to Atlanta. This picture, I think, his daughter donated her dad's documents and pictures. Wow. And this shows the size and age of the paratrooper trainees that came here. There were about 18,000 came to Toccoa. The average size was 5'6" to 5'9", weighed 130 to 150 pounds, were 18 years, 4 months old. Okay. The 4 PIs that trained here in the order that they trained, the 506 and the 501st, along with the 502nd, formed the 101st Airborne about a year from the time the 506 was here. The 511th was the 3rd PIR to train here. They went to McCall outside of Fort Bragg and were the first active unit of the 11th Airborne, which went to the Pacific Theater of War. They made 5 combat jumps. The 517th was the 4th PIR to train here. PIR is Parachute Infantry Regiment. They were formed into a PRCT, which is a Parachute Regiment Combat Team. They were assigned a company of engineers and a battalion of artillery. They acted like an independent team. They were always attached to a division. They were never a part of a division.
You take pictures in here.
The 295th and the 38th were the last 2 military groups to have basic training here. The 295th had started basic in Camp Sutton in North Carolina in tents and came here to finish basic training. The 38th Signal Construction Battalion basically put in telephone poles and strung telephone wire. They were withdrawn from Europe in March of '45 and sent to Okinawa to get ready for the Japanese invasion. So they were in both theaters of war. They had casualties D-Day +4 because several of the places that they were trying to dig holes to put in telephone poles had been landmined. This is a command post switchboard. This is a 12-line switchboard. Some of the smaller command posts would have had 6-line switchboard.
Okay.
These are German uniforms. Germany was the first army to have paratroopers. This is a SS commander officer's uniform. He was commander of the Panzer. This is 2 documents from the 38th. The first document is A Company. One of the guys in A Company kept a diary. That's about his time at Toccoa. Wow. They made fun of the 517th because they marched everywhere. He spent a lot of time comparing USOs and swimming pools and all that. This is B Company of the 38th. They wrote and performed this play across the street in the Camp Theater in October of '43.
Oh, wow.
Those are World War II posters from the forest.
No, sir.
This is a wheelchair from World War II. It's literally a chair on wheels. We keep the yellow cord on it.
Yeah, it is a chair on wheels, isn't it?
Yeah. Those kids love wheelchairs. POWs are required to have a PW on their shirt and trousers when they worked off the camp. They were guaranteed 82 cents a day, which was PFC's wages, about 82 cents a day. And so they were getting paid when they worked. They weren't getting shot at, and they basically had a good life.
Yeah.
This is Abe, American Bald Eagle. It's carved from wood. The gentleman had started carving on gun stocks and receivers and switched to wildlife. This is a mess hall table from one of the mess halls on Camp Toccoa. You can see the
Oh, wow.
seats swing in and out.
Wow.
These are stainless steel trays that were
Yep.
used to
I
feed the
used one
soldiers.
just like that. Yep.
Yep. These are some of the memorabilia that people have donated to the camp. That sand from the beaches in Normandy. That pine cone is from the forest where the Battle of the Bulge took place. This is a wood file cabinet. The War Department switched from metal to wood because metal was being used for other parts of the war effort. They switched back in the 50s, and the lady that donated this, his father had brought it home and it was in their house for about 75 years. That's a 1/16 scale model of an M1917 water-cooled machine gun. This is a water jacket that was fitted over the barrel to keep the barrel from overheating when it was being fired. It was replaced by the M19, which had barrels that screwed in and out.
Yeah.
That's an aircraft recognition book from World War II. This is part of the display that has a lot of military groups and different groups that have been here to visit and run Currahee and have given us one of their challenge coins. Also, a lot of the military groups have bring us certificates of appreciation. This gentleman, Mr. Maggie, was in the G Company of the 506. He was killed in action in D-Day +8. He's buried in France. That's a 48-star flag that was shipped to his mom. Wow. These are his personal effects that was also shipped to his mom. That medal is a German medal, so he obviously took it off of a German before he was killed. That's his Purple Heart and Bronze Star.
And you get another bracelet. How about that?
This is a brass plaque that was given to the 101st Airborne that fought in the Battle of the Bulge. It says nuts, which is what McCuffey sent to the Germans. It was the Belgians and the Dutch picked up the artillery shells from the Battle of the Bulge and made it into plaques and sold it to the Army. That's Mr. Richardson. He went up Currahee in 2012. He passed away in 2014. He's from Michigan. That's his picture when he was at Camp Toccoa. This was in New Guinea. His son brought us the pictures. Those are ammo boxes on each side. That's a picture when it snowed at Camp Toccoa. I sent it to JD because he complained about how hot it was. This is the 75th anniversary of D-Day over France. We actually landed on the correct landing zones in this reenactment. This is the captain with the 82nd Airborne. He jumped from this C-47, and that's the patch that he wore, so he donated it to us.
Oh, wow.
Inside we have a picture of Fritz Nyland, who was Saving Private Ryan was based on his story. That's his picture. He was in the 501st, and I'll let my wife take over from here.
Okay, I appreciate it. You added a lot of stuff since I was here a year ago. Wow.
But you've seen all these.
I
I think
didn't,
all the uniforms have been here. I don't know.
if you'd take me through.
No, no problem.
Yeah.
This one is like Eisenhower had, and this one was on the General Staff Army. The third is Navy,
Okay.
and the fourth one is Army. The fifth one is Navy Aviator. Then the next two are 511s, gentlemen. First one was in Japan after they occupied Japan, and then you got Alvin Hammond, who was a Toccoa man that trained here. He had 2 combat jumps in the Pacific, and then he had 98 smoke jumps as a smoke jumper working for the Forestry Service when he went back to Montana. But he was a Toccoa man.
Okay.
The Marine was highly decorated, Colonel Rowan. his pictures on the wall there in his uniform.
Oh,
And he was in World War II in the Pacific. Then he was in Korea and then Vietnam. They had promoted him to Brigadier General when he was in Vietnam, but he turned it down and decided to go ahead and retire, and because he would have to stay in Vietnam another
yeah,
tour.
yeah.
The next one here worked on the Alcan Highway, and there's a lot of information there on the wall about him. But it was 8.5 months to build 1,600 miles with about 11,000 troops. But he was in the Army Engineering Corps. Wow. Then in the corner is like Audie Murphy's major's uniform when he was in the Texas National Guard. So he was the most decorated of World War II soldiers.
This was Audie Murphy's uniform?
Be like his uniform.
Oh, okay.
Not his uniform,
Okay.
but
Like
kind of
it.
look alike.
Okay.
And then you got his picture there with
Yeah,
all his
yeah,
medals
yeah.
there in the vest.
Yeah.
On the wall is a Navy SEAL uniform. Then in the cabinet, we've got Japanese flags in the corner on the right back there.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Maggie's paratroop knife is in the center. And then his bayonet. The sextant was also given to us, and the star charts are over underneath the shelf over there.
Okay.
But it was from Plymouth, England.
Uh-huh.
Then Carl Beck gave us a lot of these things, or his family did after he passed away. And the different patches and a lot of the challenge coins had been given to us by other people also. But we're just displaying them here in the cabinet.
Wow.
But this is all from Carl Beck's things. And then you've got the USS New Jersey replica that was donated to us by the same gentleman that gave us all the uniforms, Mr. Von Zeppler.
Mm.
And then up here is the Battle of Midway.
Uh-huh.
And then we've got all these different T-shirts and, different kinds of shirts and things.
Okay.
The postcards are here. These are wooden postcards. And then we've got mugs that are made by a local potter here in town.
Okay.
And then here is the original wood from the
Yeah, I saw these on TV.
So
Yeah.
if you buy that, then you get the certificate of authenticity
Okay.
that goes with it. When they were building the 506 and they used the original panels, if they had any pieces that they couldn't use, then they would cut the sections out and put the coins in it.
That's a good idea.
So it's been a very good idea.
Yeah.
It really has. And I guess he told you about Fritz Nyland over here. I don't know if he told you about
Yeah,
that or not.
well, he showed me the picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the picture there.
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So. And then this is a World War II field disc.
Oh.
So it's a little big to open it up and everything.
Right.
I think when they get the other museum, it'll probably go down there.
When
Right now, it's just safekeeping right here.
they're gonna have another museum
The 501st is going to be a museum. Yeah.
down here.
Mhm.
Oh,
One they're
really?
working on down there.
Wow.
Yeah. Right now, you can rent the 506 and the 517th and spend the night there because I've got bunk beds in there. But we're going to it's going to be a museum.